Picking up on those points, it would seem as though there are a number of things which can influence our resilience. So what would you see as the main factors? Again, Calum, perhaps if you can pick that one up first for us.
So thanks, Alan. So basically, building on what Laura and Andrea have said, and thinking about resilience as a process, I would suggest there's 3 areas to consider. And these come up a lot in coaching conversations and in team discussions around resilience. And the first of these is appraisal. So how serious is this really? And can I reframe it in some way? And Andrea just mentioned just now this idea of mindset. And I think that's critical as to the mindset that you're bringing to the problem and how you're regarding it as to the extent of how challenging is this going to be. I think the second thing is thinking that, okay, this is a problem. I'm going to have to do something. And what is it I can do about it? What resources can I draw on? How can I think about the problem that I've got in a positive way? And then the third thing is adapting. What have I learned in the past that will help me in the future? What can I take out of this current issue that I'm struggling with that will be useful to me as we go forward from that? So thinking about the 3 different steps to that process, if you like, again, there's 3 different ways we can handle it by using our cognitive, our emotional, and our physiological capabilities, our thinking, our feeling, our doing skills, if you like. And again, starting with the first of these, thinking, what is critical is having perspective. How can I think about this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious is this really? And it's interesting that, you know, we evolved as humans to be very well adapted to reacting to physical crises like being chased by lions or tigers or whatever. But our lives today are very much around psychological crises, around challenges in how we're seen, around challenges at work, about dealing with more and more difficult situations. So having the ability to use the mind to rethink how important these are is hugely beneficial. And then if it really is an issue, coping is a mix of thinking skills, emotional skills, and physical skills. And one critical aspect of that is having a sense of purpose. If you have a real sense of where you're going in your life, having some overarching goals, then it really helps. As you hit some rocks along the way, you can step back and say, well, this is my bigger purpose. This is what I'm trying to get to them. And also being aware emotionally. And it's okay. Everyone gets anxious. Everyone gets afraid. What's important is recognizing that and accepting it, not dwelling on it, but actually accepting, yep, I'm feeling a bit low, but this is why I'm feeling a bit low. And, you know, that's okay. And then the final key point there is about physical resources and about being able to get rid of all that excess, the adrenaline, the stress that's been built up by having exercise, by running, by walking, by being outdoors, and by being able to sleep. That has a huge impact on your physiology. And then the other thing not to forget is about relationships. And we're social animals. Being around people has physical benefits for us, but they also provide emotional support, they can provide thinking support, and they can provide practical support. We really need to have people, even when they're on the end of a video conference. Laura, would you add anything to this?
Yes, thank you. I think, you know, I think we've said it a couple of times already, and I've thought about this a lot, and I do really think it's primarily your mindset and your personality that drives what influences your resilience. But, and we've talked about it, I think it is also about those experiences. So I guess touching on personality and mindset, maybe think, what type of person are you? I work in a technical field, very analytical. And I think that what comes with that is sort of a cup half empty type personality, which tends to lead itself more towards risk averse and fear of change. And I think with those personalities, you need to be more aware of that you may not be as resilient when facing change. So maybe think, what kind of personality do you have to then take it into that context of resilience? I don't think I quite fit into that category. I'm analytical minded, but I have a more optimistic outlook, but it does tend to be a risk averse field that I operate in, the world of insurance and analytics. But as I said, experiences I think can hugely influence it, and some of those you can influence the experiences you have, and then therefore how you will face change going forward. Me personally, I actually growing up, moved around a lot. Every couple of years, I was changing schools, friends, you know, school, and just locations and everything, and having to adapt. And I think having lived through that as a young child has actually made me more resilient in my adulthood. I obviously didn't choose that, but it has, I think, had benefits to me in the long run. And taking it back to a work context as well, Alan mentioned that I have gone through many acquisitions and integrations. So in 2015, working at Catlin, we were acquired by Excel. And, you know, it was a big change for people that had worked for a company for many years and had lived through very little change. And initially it was quite a shock to people, but we got through it, we survived. Most people, you know, stayed and were very successful and happy in the roles that they carried on with as Excel Catlin. Then moving on a couple of years later, in 2018, we were acquired by AXA. And what I saw was the same people that were around for the first integration actually thought, I made it through the first one, you know, I've had the experience, I know it can't be too bad. So actually they were more resilient to the second integration than they were for the first one because they had experienced it. So it is really about getting those experiences of change that allow you to cope with those changes then that are put upon you that you can't influence.
Yeah. That's really, really interesting. And I have to say that I think some of those factors, you know, they really resonate with my own past experience of working in teams going through ongoing change. So I think what would have been really helpful to me at the time would have been some guidance on how to manage my own personal resilience.